Today is July 5th. Welcome on in to Daily Cards Live here on ClaimsOnline.com. I am Joe Roderick, joined by Matt Rocchio, in for the vacationing Bob Ramsey, and we are brought to you each and every day by Royal Banks of Missouri and Munganess St. Louis Acura. Rock, the last 2 days we took them off for the holiday, and they were not pretty games by the Cardinals for two very different reasons. On Monday, losing the late lead that they had over the Marlins, and then yesterday, I think I don't know if you saw the quotes or if you were listening to the game, but I know that John Rooney and Ricky Horton were talking about it. Last year, some of the greatest memories from the 2022 season were position players pitching, Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina. This year, in the past week, it's been the exact opposite with Alec Burleson getting two different stints on the mound. It keeps getting worse for the Cardinals, and we keep trying to look for some sort of bright spot.
Well, the thing is, they're keeping it interesting. They find different ways to really lose in just the worst ways possible. And now it's not so much, doinking a ball off their shin. That should be a fairly easy play at second base. Now they're just finding special ways, including watching Alec Burleson get a strikeout and then get a grand slam and then putting him to work again. I believe in a 6-day span, last week the Cardinals pitched Alec Burleson twice and Jordan Hicks once.
That's not good for, and that has absolutely nothing to do with Jordan Hicks, actually, which is a huge, that's a big difference from back in April and early May, Jordan Hicks, when you're looking at the fact that they were just bringing him in when the team was up 5 or down 5, and now he's now he's been a lights out closer for the past couple weeks for the team. So it comes and goes in waves. The Cardinals did make a few roster moves today. One of them we knew was coming, that being Adam Wainwright to the injured list. Ali Marmol said that after the game yesterday. Another one that shouldn't be a surprise, but I guess we're still waiting for more details on this. Andrew Knizner is on the injured list as well. The Cardinals also optioned James Nail back down to Memphis to replace those three on the roster. They call up Ivan Herrera, also Dakota Hudson back with the team after a few days of leaving them. He was up here for the doubleheader over the weekend. And Zach Thompson back on the big league club. Quickly, just with Andrew Knizner, you and I were both looking for quotes from anybody in the media before we went on the air here, looking to see what had happened with him. He was in the emergency room last night after taking a foul ball off the cup region yesterday in the game. No word on if this is a serious, week-long recovery or if it's a case of, hey, he was going to be out 3 to 4 days. Might as well give him 10 days off because the All-Star break's coming up and we don't have games anyway. So waiting to hear the news on that for Knizner. But I think Cardinal fans remember what happened with Yadier Molina years ago when he took a foul ball off that region of his body.
Yeah, I think you're 100%. I think you're going to be right. I can't find it, but I did see earlier today there was a mention about Knizner. I'm having trouble tracking it back down, where they did mention that they're probably going to take the break with him just to be cautious. And I think that makes sense. And especially when you consider it opens up a door for Ivan Herrera. I thought we might get to see him today with one of his Memphis pitchers on the starting mound, but unfortunately not so much. So I think with the Herrera, with how great he's playing, hitting the cover off the ball, 1,000 OPS. Apparently, if you read what people who watch all those minor league games, because I don't, what they're saying, apparently his framing's gotten a lot better. So I would love to see what he can do in maybe a short little half month of work.
We'll get to those bootlegging lineups here in just a bit. Adam Wainwright, though, yesterday it was announced that he was going to go to the injured list with some shoulder complications. A lot of issues there with Adam Wainwright that we've seen over the last few starts with him. The team is trying really hard to do whatever they can to get him into some sort of position to get to that 200th victory in his career. And right now, Adam Wainwright doesn't have it. So hopefully 2 weeks does something, allows him to rest. I know he was coming home early from the trip. He wasn't going to stay in Miami. He wasn't going to go to Chicago. Just continue to get treatment to hopefully be right by the time his name needs to be called again in the rotation. and something clicks to make this last season to have some sort of positive memories out of this last season of his.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting. Marmal saying yesterday that they need to see something different from and Mozeliak said something similar. They need to see something different from Waino going forward, and I think that's interesting because some of the comments he's made, he's talked about how he's just doing what he usually does, and eventually it's going to click. And when he starts winning again, he said, people are going to ask me what changed, what changed. And he's going to say nothing changed. Everything I do for years is going to finally work again. And I just think that line of and that thought process might have been flawed, and he might need to dig down and say, I have to change something big about what I'm doing because it's simply, like you said, it is not working. Greg Amsinger said last week that it kind of looks like he's throwing batting practice during, in the middle of the third inning at times, and yet you can't keep putting that out there. So there's got to be a change made on Adams' part. Whether it's a health thing. Last year it was a back. It was a back because he had a knee injury, and so he was understepping his plant foot and all this stuff that caused all these issues. Maybe it's a mechanical thing, but I honestly think this might be kind of a dig down deep and say, I have to be a different kind of pitcher, maybe for the third time in my career.
John Denton posted that Dakota Hudson and Zach Thompson are back, with them being back in the club, that both are going to have an opportunity to start. They're going to be coming out of the bullpen, and we will see who will get the ball for the Cardinals this weekend in Chicago, because it's going to be one of those two guys, and I think they're both going to get opportunities out of the bullpen here in the next couple days to see who it is going to be. Possibly, I guess, what would that be? The next turn on Saturday, Sunday, whenever that would be?
Yeah, it's odd to me that this opportunity comes up, and despite or maybe because of his struggles as a starter in Memphis, you're not going to give Zach Thompson, a start. The question is, we're probably going to use him as a reliever. And that seems really odd to me, considering you moved him out of the bullpen to become a starter back in May, and now you bring him back up. And I know that whole entire plan and that trajectory wasn't played out, but nonetheless, now you have a chance. And this guy's supposed to be a starter next year. Why is the thought process not, he's going to be the starter? Maybe not today. Maybe you're thinking, it's a lot of work to come up and have that amount of stress. But he was supposed to start yesterday, and he missed that scheduled start. So his arm's ready. And so when you talk about screwing with guys' routine, especially a guy who's just trying to get into a routine, and then you're asking him to come out of the bullpen, and then maybe in a week or two when the lineup, when the rotations change, now you say, well, we do need a fifth starter. You're going to be our fifth starter. I just think this is just another case of the Cardinals handling a young player and his role in an odd way.
The bootlegging lineups for the game that starts 1 hour from now. Here is what they look like. Matthew Libator on the mound for the Cardinals, going up against Brian Hoering. Brendan Donovan is leading off and DHing. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Lars Nootbaar in right. Nolan Arenado at third. Wilson Contreras behind the plate. Nolan Gorman at second. Jordan Walker in left. Paul DeYoung at short. And Tommy Edman is in center field for the Marlins. Luis Arraez is at second. Jorge Soler in right. Brian De La Cruz is in left. Garrett Cooper DHing. Yuli Gurriel is at first. John Segura is at third. Dane Myers in center. Jacob Stallings, he also pitched last night. That's how the Cardinals got their 2 runs. He's behind the plate. And John Birdie is at shortstop for the Marlins. Those lineups brought to you by Bootleggin' Tavern. They've been open since 11 a.m. this morning, each and every day at 11 a.m. And hey, when you go out there, try the brisket gyro that they have out there. It's their spin on a Greek specialty. Try the brisket gyro out there at Bootleggin' Tavern in the Grove. Rock, a few other notes around baseball today. We have another home run derby participant. If you missed it yesterday, Adley Rutschman, he announced he was going to be in the home run derby. He made number 5 today. Luis Robert announced that he is going to be in the home run derby. So now we have 6 guys in the home run derby. Julio Rodriguez is going to be in there, who is an all-star now. He was going to do it regardless of if he was an all-star or not. Vladimir Guerrero, who earlier today said that he has zero game plan going into it. He just wants to hit balls really far.
And God bless him for that.
Two-time champion Pete Alonso. An interesting one in Mookie Betts, and then Rushman and Luis Robert are in there. I'm holding out hope that nobody else wants to do it, and they have to ask Ken Griffey Jr. or Ichiro to pick up a bat and hit home runs next Monday in at T-Mobile Park, because I will be there to see it. So,
okay. Now I see the reason. Okay, that makes sense. I don't understand how you get that quote from Vlad, and your go-to for an old retired player for them to pull in for number 6 is Ken Griffey Jr. and not, I know it's in Seattle, but it's not Vladimir Guerrero Sr. to hit against his son. Come on.
No, I need. You know what I wanted before he got hurt yesterday and announced. I think he's still going to hit at the All-Star game. He's just not going to pitch. I wanted Shohei to enter the home run derby and have Shohei and Ichiro go at it in the first round of that. Now that's the ratings for that would have been incredible. So we saw over the weekend who else is going to be in the All-Star game. So if you have to pick from those rosters there throughout all of baseball, Luis Robert is a clear. That was a perfect choice to do the home run derby. That's a really good one. I don't know who else you go with outside of that, and just looking at the rosters of the two teams, I don't know who else. You could go with the guy who's leading the team that just set a record for the most home runs in the first half of the baseball season. Matt Olson. 28 home runs on 161 that the Braves have hit in 84 games. I mean, that there's an option. Matt Olson he was in the home run derby back in Colorado. I know that because he almost hit me with a home run ball. Well, there you go. So they had the auxiliary press box in right field at Coors Field, and he hit the open chair next to me. I watched it. I tracked it come in, and I thought, I don't want to break my hand, and I pulled my hand back to watch it hit the chair and bounce about 10 rows in front of me. You're missing the obvious one for the humor around St. Louis, to have a second player formerly associated with the Cardinals to be one of the 6. If you put either Randy Arozarena or Adolis Garcia in the home run derby. Now, Cardinals fans. Wait, Arozarena is in it. Who am I missing then? Who did I say was in it that's not? Because Arozarena is in it. For a second, I thought there was already 2 people associated, because I was like Luis Robert, and Randy. But then you didn't say Arozarena. I'm like, I must have got the list wrong. So we could get a third one in there with Adolis Garcia. Cardinals fans would be absolutely apoplectic. It'd be hilarious. So I must have said, I only said 5 names, or I said somebody that's not in it, or we're up to 7. I don't know where we're at with that, because, Arozarena is in it. I want Arozarena versus Robert. That's what I want to see in my finals for this. Yeah. 2 guys that just do not – I feel like neither one cares how it's going to affect their swing in the second half, and just go at it for 90 seconds at a time. We will update you if that list changes anymore over the next few days, as Rock and I will be back with you tomorrow and on Friday for Daily Cards Live, brought to you each and every day by Royal Banks of Missouri and Munganess St. Louis Acura. The other day, Claibs and I were looking at stlouisacura.com. 111 new Acuras out there on the lot. Over 200 pre-owned cars out there. That means down at St. Louis Acura, over 300 cars out there on the lot for you to choose from. Go to stlouisacura.com first before heading over to 13720 Manchester Road to find your next car. We will be back with you tomorrow. Until then, he is Matt Rocchio. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Daily Cards Live right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
From our roots in St. Louis, Royal Banks of Missouri is branching out to continue serving you with our locations in St. Charles, Jerseyville, Granite City, and now in Hannibal, Center, and New London. Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank in your community.